Hi, welcome back. I'm Jackie Hamill, and this is part 2 of the research process. This part is looking at reading effectively. Now, last time in part 1 we talked about mind mapping and developing a mind map, which we did here. And the mind map is a really good way to start your reading as well, because you have to know where you're going to research. Where are you going to look for your journals and books that you want to find out about? So we've got ideas here, the physical, psychological, and interventions. And if you start making questions that you want answered before you start reading and researching, it will really direct you in the area that you want to go. So perhaps we have the idea that childhood obesity leads to decreased physical activity. So in what way does that affect? Does decreased activity lead to childhood obesity, or is it the other way around? What kinds of sports could people who are obese in childhood participate in that's going to be useful to them and not harmful? What types of diseases could people who have childhood obesity develop? When would they develop them? Would they have the chance of recovering from these diseases if they were not obese? All these are questions that you can ask so that you're becoming an active reader. Passive readers tend to read and want all the words to jump out at them from the paper that they're reading. It doesn't usually happen. If you have questions and you're reading specifically for those questions, it's more likely that you'll stay awake and actually find good, relevant information for your essay. So, if we do a mind map of just the physical area and we think about diseases. So one disease is diabetes. When you're taking your notes, when you're reading your article, make sure you do take notes. It's very tempting now just to cut and paste from our online journal into our text. However, it increases the chance of you plagiarizing material. It's much better if you read your journal article. You can use a highlighter and highlight the information that you're interested in. Then put your journal article down and think, okay, what I've read there, how is that useful for me in my essay? How can I use that? And then write down in your own words what you want to say. Don't write sentences necessarily, just words or phrases that are going to trigger your mind so that when you go to write, you can write in full sentences, but you're not plagiarizing. When you're taking your notes, make sure that you put in your references where you got your information from. It's very easy to think, oh, that's so interesting, I'll remember that. But 2 days from now when you go to write, you're probably not going to remember it. And you may have to go leafing through many journal articles to find out where the information came from. So I tend to put the author's last name, the year of publication, and I also put the page number in. Depending on what type of referencing system you're using will depend on whether you put the page number in or whether you use it or not. For instance, APA referencing asks for the surname and the year only. Unless you're doing a direct quotation, then you put the page in. However, MLA referencing system uses the author's last name and the page number, but not the year of publication, with in-text referencing. So if you put all this information in, this is what you will need for both APA and MLA in-text referencing in the body of your paper. It also means that if you're using APA referencing and you want to go back and refresh your memory about what the concepts were that the author was trying to talk about, you can easily find it because you've got the page number there. When you're reading, you need to analyze all the text that you're looking at so that you're not wasting a lot of time. Researching for articles takes a long time, so you need to start early. Don't wait until 2 days before your assignment's due. You have to look first at the title. So this title is Nutrition Journal, and the main heading is Childhood Obesity Prevalence and Prevention. So just from looking at that title, Childhood Obesity Prevalence and Prevention, I get a really good idea that this is going to be useful for the assignment that I'm looking at. Okay, then what you probably want to do is read your abstract. The abstract gives you an overall idea of what's in the journal article. So you can decide then whether you think it's going to be useful or not. It's also useful then to look at the headings and subheadings. There's a definition of obesity given here. And here it talks about causes of obesity, behavioral and social factors, diet, fat intake, other dietary factors. Look carefully at your headings and subheadings. This will guide you as to where you want to read. Do not read every journal article from cover to cover. This is a waste of your time. And as you get closer to the middle and end of your semester, your stress levels will rise. You'll have other assignments due, and you'll have exams that you have to do. So be an effective reader. Look for the clues that are going to direct you where you need to go to answer the questions you have from your mind map. Use both of these together so that you're being an effective reader. When you're reading, depending on what type of learner you are, you may like to highlight when you're going through your journal article. However, be careful to control your highlighter. Usually if it's a new topic and we're reading about it for the first time, everything is new. So we want to take and highlight everything. And before you know it, your whole journal article is all yellow. So make sure you control your highlighter. Read through it first, the areas that are going to be relevant to your mind map, and then go through and highlight the important parts. Sometimes in the margin, I'll even write introduction or physical aspect or conclusion. So if I want to go back, I know exactly where to look and what to read just from what's written in the margin. So I don't have to read every highlighted aspect. So that's all I'm going to say about reading effectively. And please put these ideas into practice. It may feel strange at first, but if you start, especially in first year, becoming an effective reader, it will make your life so much easier at university.